Oh, 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 भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Let us continue today's session. Sister Gita is going to continue from page number 72 of the Satyam Shivam Sundaram, volume 2, second paragraph. And share the
Sivam.
screen. I'll just share the screen. You can see the book.
Baba teaches that. I'm starting.
I just want to share the book.
Oh,
Just one second.
okay.
Uh, the book is open. What are you seeing right now? The
Baba
book?
teaches, yeah, I can see the book.
Okay.
Baba teaches that karma has to be suffused with bhakti so that jnana may be won. He has pointed out that the Vedas have three kandas or sections, the first one dealing with karma, which is the most voluminous, and the second shorter in size, called upasana or worship. The third of the jnana section is the Upanishad literature, which is short. Still, the Vedanta or the of the ripening fruit and the ripe fruit. The ripening fruit becomes filled with sweetness in much shorter time than the tender fruitling takes to grow into the ripening fruit. The sweetness for which all this is a preparation is jnana. Baba agrees with the Vedic dictum that jnana alone can confer liberation, that karma and bhakti are preliminary stages that the seeker has to go through. Jnana alone reveals the essential oneness of the universe, the oneness of the mind and matter, of time and space, of the most distant star with the smallest speck glittering in the sunshine. Baba spoke of this oneness, this non duality, Advaita, on the birthday of Shankara, who was the most vigorous exponent of the Vedantic truth. The interpretation satisfies the most complex demands of the intellect and reconciles all the one in full measure in all things at all times. When you know that the many is a figment of your own imagination, born out of your incomplete knowledge, you become sole master and all fear vanishes. You are free from the thraldom of the many faced samsara. Baba said. On the 10th May, Baba inaugurated the factory of the Rao Insulating Company at Whitefield. He addressed the employees and gave them his blessings and advice. He told them that each one of them was a link in the chain of production. Sloth, slackness, negligence, or inefficiency of a single person will nullify the skill, vigilance, efficiency, and enthusiasm of the rest. Be tolerant of the other man's point of view. Be aware of the other man's difficulties. Respect the other man's needs as much as you respect your own. He said he knew the British technicians who were collaborating with them, and so he could congratulate them on securing such earnest and loving friends from abroad. Baba lays his finger on the crux of what is often exaggerated as the labor problem, for he sees it as a human problem of acquiring peace and joy. At Sri Sailam, when he saw the thousands of masons, stonecutters, and mechanics engaged in building a dam across the Krishna River, he gave them advice. which leaders and guides of labor can well take to heart. Do not go about this work in a haphazard way. This is a sacred task which will provide food and happiness for crores of men, women, and children for centuries. Truly, your lives have been worthwhile. You who toil to curb your own waywardness too. Damn the roaring flood of passion, which endangers the peace and joy of your own homes. Canalize it, canalize it into useful fields, just as you obey the rules of health for fear of falling ill. Obey the rules of mental control too, so that you may have abundant peace. Spend a few minutes every morning and evening in the silence of your home before the altar. Spend them with God. Practice the constant presence of God. See Him with you always under all conditions. Rely on Him. It is His drama. You are but a role, an actor. From Whitefield, Baba went to Mysore city and the Nilgiris, and from thence he proceeded to Tirunelveli, Mukkudal, Madurai, and the Kodaikanal hills, reaching Prashantinilayam in the time for the festival of Guru Purnima. The miraculous events that preceded that festival and that made it unforgettable deserve a separate chapter, a chapter which has to be inscribed in letters of gold. The Shiva Shakti. I have been keeping back from you all these years one secret about me. The time has come when I reveal it to you, for this is a sacred day. I am Shiva Shakti, he declared. Born in the Gotra of Bharadwaja, according to a boon won by that sage from Shiva and Shakti. Shiva himself was born in the Gotra of that sage as Sai Baba of Shirdi. Shiva and Shakti have incarnated as myself in this Gotra now. Shakti alone will incarnate as the third Sai in the same Gotra in Mysore state. Readers must have noticed that Baba declared himself as Bhavani, who got a sword to Shivaji and commissioned him to save Sanatana Dharma from forces inimical to him, inimical to it. He said that this Shiva Shakti is doing the same now. I'm giving the sword of courage into the hands of these pandits and commissioning them to share their wisdom and joy with all men as Sanatana Dharma dictates. The word Shiva Shakti took the large gathering who heard it on the wings of memory to the 6th of July 1963, the time about 7 p.m. when a miracle of miracles happened in the prayer hall of Prashanti Nilayam. That was a seismic event which enlarged the bounds of faith and deepened the ardor of devotion. So I shall describe it in some detail. It all began on the evening of 28th June when Baba asked me to announce that he would not grant interviews for a week. No one could guess why, for there was nothing out of the ordinary in the events of the day. On Saturday, 29th June at 6:30 a.m., while moving into his room on the first floor from the southern veranda, Baba spoke of reeling sensation and suddenly fell on the floor. He was with him then, but though I held him I was with him then, but though I held him with my hand, I could soften only slightly the impact of the fall. Even as he fell, the left hand clenched its fist, the left leg stiffened, the toes became taut. Evidently, he had taken upon himself in his infinite mercy the stroke of paralysis destined to incapacitate or perhaps kill some saintly person. Having seen him while taking on the typhoid fever, the gastric pain, the bleeding ear, the mumps, and even the stroke, I waited with Raja Reddy the moment of his coming to, when we could get from him the name of the person and of the place to confirm our surmise. The face twitched and muscles drew the lips to the left, the tongue lolled. The left eye appeared to have lost its sight. We whispered to each other about his postponement of interviews for 1 week. Baba seemed to have known that someone had to be rescued that. As the clock ticked the minutes away and the hour hand moved relentlessly on, our anxiety thickened into fear. Gloom filled the room and spread gradually all round the Nilayam. Dr. B.G. Krishnamurti said that Baba was in coma, that Baba showed symptoms of apoplexy. The jaws were locked tight. The pulse rate was ranging from 84 to 100. The doctor, while treating patients in the Satya Sai hospital, placed more reliance on the curative value of the vibhuti blessed by Baba than on the efficacy of the drugs the shelves contained. Now that he found Baba stricken, he could only pray to him to cure himself. Meanwhile, someone who feared that the illness was genuine hastened by car to Bangalore, 106 miles off, and brought with him late at night Dr. Prasanna Narasimha Rao, the Assistant Director of Medical Services, Mysore. Let the doctor relate what he saw. I shall quote from his letter. It was on the afternoon of the 29th of June that I summoned urgently to the feet of Sri Satya Sai Baba of Puttaparthi. I sped on in the company of my brother-in-law, Sri Keshav Vittal, to witness a spectacle of extreme pain and suffering in Puttaparthi. He reached the precincts of the holy place after midnight. Anxious as I was to learn the details of the incident that caused the summons, it was his will that I should contain myself till the next morning. Next morning, when I was taken into the room on the first floor of the Nilayam, I saw the I saw there lying prostrate the physical form and body of Sri Satya Sai Baba in a posture assumed by a patient in coma. Respiration was hissing at times, the left side of the body, the upper and lower limbs were rigidly held in the position of extensor tone. There were gross twitchings of the face, occasionally on the right side. The head would be suddenly tossed to one side or the other with a groan of anguish and the utterance of ununderstandable syllables, which was the result of an impairment of the faculty of speech. In short, it was a sort of jargon. After an analysis of the signs and symptoms and the history of the case, I had to infer that the semi comatose conditions and the posture assumed could only be due to a space occupying condition in the cranium with localizing signs of predominance over the right half of the brain in the frontal area. The different diagnosis of such conditions in a person of about 30 years after excluding remote possibilities pinned me down to that of tubercular meningitis with perhaps a tuberculoma silent for a long. The treatment was one of energetic anti-tubercular measures with symptomatic supportive treatment by intravenous substitution and replacement to maintain ionic balance and nutrition. A diagnostic lumbar puncture was an immediate necessity for the professional assessment of the case. My attempts to administer glucose solution intravenously was by a gesture and movement of the body foiled completely by Baba, leaving me utterly bewildered and helpless in the face of his will. Having completely resigned to his will, I returned to Bangalore on Sunday evening, bereft of all hopes of having his darshan again in the physical form assumed by him for this incarnation. Baba was unconscious all the time. He evinced only faint gleams of awareness as when he pushed away the doctor's hand when injection was attempted. The body perspired a great deal, but he could be given only a few spoonfuls of water, the spoon being inserted after pressing the jaws apart. He was apparently severely exhausted. Moreover, he suffered from what Dr. Krishnamurti named angina pectoris, paroxysms of intense pain originating at the breastbone and radiating thence mainly to the left shoulder and arm. The physical frame groaned. Inmates of the Nilayam standing tiptoe under the window heard and wept. To relieve the exhaustion, we could give only occasional drops of glucose water or lemon juice after parting the tightly clenched teeth. On Monday, Baba intensified the atmosphere of tragedy. Summoning near his bed some residents of the colony, he gestured and lisped to make them understand that the tasks allotted to them could be carried out with undiminished ardor. It was heart-rending experience to catch those hazy words and interpret them, for the words emerged from the mouth gone awry and tongue turned left. He warned us not to frighten the other devotees with our fear. Deal gently with them, talk sweetly to them, he seemed to say. Give them vibhuti, ask them to leave for home and come some other time. He declined medicine and nursing, brushing aside angrily the spoon which had a few drops of coramine. He insisted on relieving himself in the bathroom itself, though he had to be lifted or drawn over two door sills. The pulse registered danger after each such hazardous journey. We and the doctor could only wring our arms and pray. The fact that it was a stroke of paralysis could not be announced, and so a variety of rumors circulated in and around the Nilayam to explain the ominous gloom. The wildest of these was that Baba was under the maleficent influence of black magic. Others surmised that he had gone into samadhi. Still others guessed that he had taken a vow of silence and inaction. Perhaps the villagers of Puttaparthi were more competent interpreters, for they had known of his unconscious days at Uravakonda when he had gone out of his body to save a devotee from calamity. They said Baba was about to enter a new chapter in his history, as he had done after that incident at Uravakonda while in his teens. Tuesday arrived. Baba showed signs of consciousness, more often and for longer periods. Referring to the visit of the doctor, he said, "He can only take darshan and leave. Injections are inadvisable in such cases. This will last 5 days in all. Tomorrow the pain will be less. I had 2 heart attacks these 3 days. You must have heard the groans. No one else could have survived." He gestured and smiled. Dr. B. Sitaramaya, who was the medical officer in charge of the Nilayam hospital, was summoned by a telegram. He came on Tuesday evening to the bedside. Tuesday night was filled with fear for Baba groaned, causing us excruciating agony. Wednesday dawned, dark and dismal. After 9 a.m., Baba, who was extremely exhausted, showed signs of sinking. He struggled for breath. Hiccups tormented him. The parents could not contain their sorrow. The brothers and sisters were wallowing in grief. Though rooted in faith, in the faith that Baba was divine, we tottered and wept aloud like panic-stricken babies. We could not decide whether, at this awful hour, we could stoop to the sacrilege of bringing to Prashant Nilayam a doctor from Anantapur or Bangalore. Was it right? Was it pardonable? Was it urgently needed? Could any doctor be of use? We gathered under the mango trees and, with tears streaming down our cheeks, weighed the pros and cons. Just then, glad tidings arrived. Baba had regained consciousness. The hiccups had lost their rigor 2 hours later. We had a tragic jolt. His breathing worsened. He grasped and rolled. His feet and palms became cold. We prayed to him amidst sobs. We got no sign to encourage us. The doctors sat on the floor and leaned against the wall, resting on their hands their heavy heads. For full 4 hours, Baba broiled us thus in mortal anguish. Then he opened his eyes, looked around, and smiled. About an hour later, he beckoned us and told us, in his pathetically ineffective vocabulary, supplemented by gestures with the palsied right hand, the events of those 4 hours. We understood him to say, the mind is a thousand-petaled lotus, each petal directing it outward into some facet of the objective world. In the very center of the lotus is the flame of the I principle. The flame is very unsteady, veering now towards one petal, now to another. But if through the exercise of will you keep it steady and straight, that I is unaffected by the events that happen to the body. Someone quoted Shruti Vedas and said, Neelatoyada madhyastad vidyullekeva bhasvara tasya madhye vahnishikha. In the center of the blue cloud, shining like a streak of lightning with a tongue of fire in its center. Baba nodded approval. During those 4 hours, I held the flame straight. It was away apart. I was watching the body from above, myself unconcerned, unaffected. Even at Shirdi in 1886, Sai Baba saved himself from the world from a critical illness by deciding to take his prana high. About 7 p.m., Baba gestured, "All of you should sleep around here this night." It betokened a crisis. Will there be a heart attack this night? Someone dared inquire. Baba replied, yes. That night was the longest, the darkest, and the most dreadful in the lives of us 15 mortals. The heart attack happened. We listened to the groans. We prayed to Baba to assuage the pain and assure us of the victory we sought. At last, the day of relief, Thursday, the sixth day, when, as he had told us, the pain will lose its severity and the attacks on the heart will cease. The sun rose over the hills across the Chitravati. Baba announced that the pain as well as the burning sensation in the chest has gone. The very first order he gave after this declaration was, "Arrange now for all the devotees to get darshan. They are broken by despair." He pleaded that the darshan be granted 2 days later, on Saturday, Guru Purnima Day, when thousands gather at the Nilayam from all the states of India to pay homage to their Guru, Master, and Teacher. We hoped that he could recoup himself more to bear the strain that darshan involves. Baba asked me to announce at the prayer hall that darshan will be granted to all on Guru Purnima. I had to do it after the Monday morning bhajan session at 9 a.m. Thursday. Baba reprimanded me for I came away making a short statement without any detail about the illness. He insisted on my giving the assembled bhaktas an accurate description of his physical condition so that they are saved from the sharp and sudden shock at the sight. I announced the condition of his leg, hand, eye, tongue, and face in Telugu, but I broke down when I saw the agony on the faces that learned for the first time the awful truth. I had to repeat the announcement in English, Kannada, Tamil, and Malayalam, but I could only speak in sobs. That night, Baba conveyed another bit of good news. The clot in the brain is dissolved. We prayed to him to will to be his normal self. He was our refuge in distress. So when the distress was caused by his own play, that was the only prayer we knew. Throughout Friday and even during the morning hours of Saturday, we attempted to persuade him to give up the plan to give darshan in the prayer hall on the ground floor. Someone appealed to him to allow us to announce to the gathering that he would render himself hale and hearty before Dasara, 100 days ahead. Another ventured to pray that he should cure himself fully by Krishna Janmastami, which was 40 days later. Baba seemed to resent the proposals. He only shook his head. The prayer hall was packed as never before. People from many villages around Puttaparthi who had come to know that Baba was for the first time being brought down came in large numbers. The broad spaces around the Nilayam were filled. Baba was carefully brought down the circular steps, 18 in all, to the ground floor. Major Dr. M. Bhanu of the Government Hospital Palladam writes, I saw Baba moving down with the help of three bhaktas. His left leg was lifted over the doorstep by one of them. He had a kerchief around his head and face to bind the halo of hair he had gone awry to hide the twitching of the facial muscles from the eyes of devotees. His gait was the characteristic hemiplegic one, the paralytic left leg being dragged in a semicircle, the toes carping the floor. Seeing Baba in that condition, even the bravest wept aloud. The wail was so sudden and so loud that we were angrily blamed by many, who inferred that it was the end. They cursed our bravado in putting the most precious life on earth to this risk. Why did you bring him down? They cried in anger. Baba was placed in the silver chair on the floor, propped up by pillows. As soon as he was in the position, a pillow was placed over his chest and the limp left hand was lifted by Raja Reddy and placed on it. Seeing this, there arose a gasp from every breast. Baba signaled to me and I knelt at his side to catch what he was trying to tell me. After repeating to him what I had guessed to be his message and ascertaining that I had understood him all right, I announced to the grief-stricken gathering of about 5,000 people, Baba says, do not grieve. This is not my ailment. This is an ailment I have taken over. I can never fall ill. No, never. Do not feel dispirited. If you lose heart, it'll pain me. Then he signed to me to speak to them at some length and signed that he will speak after me. Many felt that he has exerted himself too much already. They feared the consequence of a further adventure in speaking with his impaired resources. I called upon everyone to pray to Baba, propped on pillows on the silver chair, the only refuge we knew. to cure himself at least by the next new moon, for the full moon of today is blocked out for us by this unbearable sorrow. Let the next new moon become a full moon for us all and for the world. Baba signed that the mic he held near his lips slowly. He whispered into it in swollen, half suppressed syllables. Vinipistunnada. But even we, who had learned to decipher the mushy paralytic alphabet, could not make out what he was trying to say. He repeated it twice. Then someone caught the meaning and repeated it on the mic. Baba was asking them, "Can you hear me?" This raised again another groan. He was heard, but alas, it tore their hearts. It was too indistinct. Evidently, Baba was too tired by that attempt to speak, for he gestured for water to drink. He was brought by Krishnappa. It was brought by Krishnappa in a silver tumbler and held to his lips by Raja Reddy. His palsied right hand came towards it. He tried to hold it. His fingers slipped into it. The fingers dipped. He sipped a few drops. He sprinkled with the fingers of the right hand a little water on the limp left hand on the pillow above his chest. He sprinkled the water, faintly shaking the fingers on the left leg too. He stroked the left hand with the right, and with both hands stroked the left leg. He rose, the pillow fell. We could hear his divine voice calling us, as was ever his wont, Prema Swarupalara. He had begun his Guru Purnima discourse. Oh, our Baba, hail, hearty, holy, healthy, heavenly. People could not believe their eyes and ears. But when they realized that Baba was standing before them speaking, they jumped about in joy. They danced, they shouted, jays, they wept. Some were so overcome with ecstatic gratitude that they laughed hysterically and ran wild amongst the crowds rushing in. Oh, it was a miracle of miracles. It shot us in an instant from the deepest pit of gloom into the seventh heaven of delight. Major Bhanu writes, the doctor of doctors cured himself in the trice, leaving me aghast with wonder. Prema Swarupalara, embodiments of love. దిక్కులేని వానికి దేవుడే దిక్కు. For him who has no refuge, God is the refuge. Baba's silver voice awakened all to attention. That is the reason I had to take on this disease that one forlorn bhakta was to suffer from. He would not have survived it, nor could he come through the 4 heart attacks I took on. My dharma is bhakta rakshana. I had to rescue him. Of course, this is not the first time I have taken on the illness of those I want to save. Even in the precious body of Shirdi, I had this responsibility. This is my Leela, my nature. It is part of the task for which I have come. Sister Rakshana. Has he not declared at Shirdi as Sai Baba, the sea may turn the rivers back, but I will not neglect my devotees. He spoke for over an hour with the eloquence, the same compassion, the same humor, and the same love that he evinces always. Then, raising his voice a little, he said, I have been keeping back from you all these years one secret about me. The time has come when I can reveal it to you, for this is a sacred day. I am Shiva Shakti, he declared, born in the Gotra of Bharadwaja, according to a boon won by that sage from Shiva and Shakti. Shiva himself was born in the Gotra of that sage as Sai Baba of Shirdi. Shiva and Shakti has incarnated as myself in this Gotra now. Shakti alone will incarnate as a third Sai in the same Gotra in Mysore state. This illness had to be borne by Shakti, the consort of Shiva, for she incurred the ire of her lord by neglecting to notice Bharadwaja for full 8 days at Kailash, their home. As a consequence of the neglect, Bharadwaja has suffered a stroke. Shiva sprinkled the restorative water and cured him. Today we saw the illness of Shakti cured by Shiva, the right half by the same means. These matters are beyond human ken. So I had kept it from you so long, but now that within the knowledge of so many, Shakti suffered and Shiva saved, it is time you knew this. The Bhakta who was saved by my taking over is only the immediate cause. The remote cause is the boon and the retribution, Baba declared. After this disclosure, Baba sang a few songs which he wanted the congregation to repeat in chorus. When he started off in double quick tempo, the lines Hara Hara Shiva Shiva Subramanyam, Shiva Shiva Hara Hara Subramanyam, Shiva Sharavana Bhava Subramanyam, Guru Sharavana Bhava Subramanyam, Dr. Bhanu rushed in, but let him explain why he did so. I forgot I was a volunteer, posted outside to keep the crowd in check. I rushed inside to fall at his feet and pray to him not to continue that song. I was afraid if his tongue performed the acrobatics so soon after it regained its normalcy, it might fail and suffer a relapse. But at the very door, I held myself. I remembered the miracle I had seen with my own eyes. I remembered the sweet voice that was won back in a trice. I kept mum. Who was I to check God? I controlled myself and stayed outside. Baba ascended the steps to the first floor with his usual agility. He announced from the veranda above to the gathering that he would grant every one of them the chance to touch his feet as namaskaram the next day at 6:30 a.m. He partook of normal food that night. No one slept. The miracle then they witnessed kept them awake in ecstasy. Oh, within a split second, Baba had given himself back to the world. The joy kept every eye awake. Next evening, too, he gave a discourse. He pitied those who reveled in bad news and were eager to circulate it. He declared, from this day, nothing and no one can stop or obstruct or delay the work for which this avatar has come. During a previous advent, only one mountain, the Govardhan, was lifted. This avatar will lift many ranges. This Ganga will roll majestically on, feeding the roots of all creeds and races. Referring to this mighty miracle, Baba said a few weeks later, rescuing a true bhakta is my dharma, my very nature. Someone asked me whether it was right on my part to plunge thousands into grief in order to rescue one. Such numerical calculations cannot apply to acts of grace. I act my dharma, regardless of how it affects you or him. Rama obeyed his father's desire. He did not desist, though all Ayodhya was bathed in tears. The father who had acceded to his mother's wicked desire to exile him, and the very brother who was to benefit by the exile urged him to stay on, but he did not turn back. The illness that I took on had to execute its dharma according to its nature. I allowed it to behave so, for it is only then that you can observe and imbibe the glory of the victory. Krishna could have waved off the rains that Indra threatened to pour on the region of Vrindavan, but he permitted the god of rains to carry on his dharma. And he utilized the occasion to let the gopis and gopas have a glimpse of his glory. He lifted the Govardhan mountain on his little finger to save them from the devastating downpour. He observed his dharma, the dharma of Bhakta Rakshana, granting succor of devotees. Now, too, as in that age, the purpose is the proclamation of divinity.
Thank you, sister. Patricia, you can continue.
Okay, Sairam, you must count another benefit too, though you may not be aware of it. I know to what depths your devotion to me reached as a result of this illness during those 8 days. You would not have achieved that single point meditation on me even during years of tapas. He knew that all those who knew of the illness were spending those awful days in prayer, penance, and penitence. They prayed that he may rise from the sick bed with more resplendent glory, that they be pardoned for their errors which may affect his majesty, and that their suffering be accepted in lieu of what he was ailing from. The darshan of Baba is a creative chance to transmute the base metal in us into gold. To listen to his words is to be charged with the current of spiritual regeneration. To read his writings is to feed your intellect with wholesome sustenance and purge it of egoistic dross. This heavenly Ganga vitalizes, fertilizes, and purifies all who dive into it. The constant presence. He has initiated persons into spiritual sadhana through Upadesh granted in dreams. He has taught people new bhajan songs in dreams and asked them at Prashanti Nilayam to sing them. He conveys information and advice in dreams. He operates on boils and uh, babos on eye, ear, or tongue. The patient dreams that he's operating with a knife, and the dream is true. Those who went in bed in pain woke up happy, rid of the deer disease. On Sunday, the 13th of December 1964, Baba was at Venkatagiri town. He had reached the place a few days earlier in connection with a heavy schedule of discourses in the Chittor and Nellore districts in Andhra Pradesh. But Baba is not bound by the limitations of space and time. On that very day, about 8 a.m., Baba surprisingly appeared in front of my house. Says, "You, Ram Mohan Rao, superintendent of the Junior Technical School, Manjeri, 28 miles south of Calicut on the west coast in the state of Kerala. As the crow flies, the distance between Manjari and Venkatagiri will be more than 600 miles. But distance is only a game that Baba plays to keep us poor mortals apart." We shall listen to Ram Mohan Rao describing this visit. "I and my wife were indoors with our daughter. The maid told us that a sadhu had come. We went out to see who it was, and we were surprised to see Sri Satya Sai Baba. Baba said, 'Hari Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.' We prostrated ourselves at his feet. We led Baba into the office room, but on the way he saw our puja room where his photo was hung along with several holy pictures. He said he would sit in the puja room itself. He told us that he had come to us that day being very pleased with the bhakti of Sailaja, my daughter. He asked me to send word to devotees if any were available for bhajan and pravachan. He sent word to his neighbors and people collected immediately. Says Ramesh Rao, his cousin. He sang Nanda Mukunda Sainatha. O Bhagwan, Jai Ram, along with the Bhaktas. After bhajan, he talked to me in Tamil, to my wife in Canaries, and to the others in the mixed dialect of Tamil Malayalam. He blessed us by the gift of a Shankhamala and himself placed it on his own photograph. He told me that my father had decided on a rite to propitiate the snake god Sarpa Samskaram at Bangalore on 25th February, Thursday. My day, he added. But he told me that he need not perform it since he had already wiped off the calamity. It was indeed to avert, and this sacrilege it was designed to atone. He took some light refreshment. Then he told the persons around him that all will be anxiously awaiting him at Kalahasti. So he took leave of us and asking us not to follow him, went through the gate. He disappeared in a few seconds. We all felt happy at this unexpected darshan and were struck by the disappearing miracle within the twinkling of an eye. Nor was this all. There are a few more photographs in the letter which I'm quoting. 24th December, Thursday, was a holiday. We felt lonely since our Shailaja was away at Mangalore. So we went out in the afternoon to visit some friends and returned home at 6:30 p.m. We were shocked to see the lights burning within the house. My wife asked me whether I had forgotten to switch off all the lights. I first examined the lock of the main door and finding it intact, went round the house too to see whether the other doors were bolted from within. They were okay. Then both of us came to the front door, opened the lock, and walked in. We found everything intact. All the lights were on. We saw Baba in our prayer room. We prostrated ourselves at his feet. He asked us in Kannada whether we were afraid. We replied that we were very lucky and that we felt very happy. Baba said that he had come because we were lonely and said, "Let us sing bhajans." If Sailaja were here, she would have liked to sing, he said. He sang a few bhajans. He took food. Later, we discussed some general topics together. Then Baba retired for the night. Early next morning, Baba had his bath. He had coffee with us and then discoursed on bhakti and the basic truth of nature. All of a sudden, we saw a rosary of Rudraksha beads in his hand. He put it on my neck with his blessings, with the direction that I should wear it during my Sandhya rites. After those rites, I was to place it on Baba's photograph. We had breakfast together. The puja room was decorated specially with garlands and flowers. Bhajan began. Meanwhile, devotees came to know that Baba had come, so they too assembled for bhajan. Baba discoursed on bhakti in the Tamil Malayalam dialect. He granted everyone the coveted interview. At 12 noon, Baba himself waved the sacred light of Mangalarati and distributed prasadam to everyone present. The quarter kilogram of dates that I had sufficed for 100%. We had our lunch with Baba. He rested for a couple of hours and we had tea at 4:30 p.m. Then he told us that several devotees were eagerly waiting for him at Kalahasti. He blessed us again when we fell at his feet. Okay. At 5 p.m., he went out on the road through the gate and suddenly disappeared. What a wonderful miracle! We could not believe our own eyes. Nor could I, without confirmation through independent sources. Baba had given darshan to persons in distress in distant places, but nowhere so far as we knew did he stay so long and so concretely. It was too overpoweringly unscientific. I wrote a letter to two friends, P.K. Panikar and P.A. Menon in Kerala, enclosing a list of 84 questions for which I wanted them to find answers at Manjari. They proceeded to Ram Mohan Rao's house and sent me a fuller report which dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's of this letter to me. Ram Mohan Rao and his wife told them that Baba was wearing a yellow gown on the 13th December. He walked in barefooted and went into the shrine room saying, I shall go into my own place. My friends saw the picture on which the rosary of Rudraksha beads was placed. It had a thick outgrowth of sacred ash in a few days. Strangely enough, the face of Baba was clear, but from the outer area in the picture, there fell a continuous shower of vibhuti dust, which was being collected and distributed with the reverence due to the divinely created gift of grace. Rao and his wife have been devoted to Shirdi Sai Baba for many years. They have not visited Prashanti Nilayam, but they had secured a picture of Sati Sai Baba 7 years ago and placed it amidst the other pictures in the shrine. When Baba sat in the shrine room and leaned against the wall right under his own picture, they saw that the picture was genuine. That was the first time they saw him. They had borrowed the book Sathyam Shivam Sundaram from a friend and read it. They thought that Baba had come accidentally to Calicut or some nearby town and had decided to bless them by this visit. When Mrs. Rao was listing her sorrows to Baba, encouraged by his overflowing love, Baba said, sorrow and pain are the lot of all. Don't you know that both sisters of this body are widowed? When Sailaja asked Baba for a bhajan book, Baba said, Palghat Menon has brought 400 bhajan books printed in Malayalam to Prashanti Nilayam. I'm sorry, I can't see the screen.
Looks like Brother Shushant is not on the call anymore.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what page we were on?
No, because I don't have my PDF on this one, so
I think it got disconnected.
Okay, you're back. Okay.
okay.
Sorry about that. Okay. Documents. What do you think? I'm sorry. Mhm. Okay.
Okay. I shall give you one. So saying, Baba held his palm upside down, waved it twice, and caught with his fingers the book that appeared. He gave it to the girl. We saw it. It was the same book with the blue paper cover. Shailaja had great faith in Baba. Since her eczema on the foot was cured by Baba a year ago, in answer to in answer to her pleading before his picture. When he was asked to bring some persons for bhajan, Rao did not go far, for he did not desire to miss Baba's company for long. He brought in the owner of his house, an old gentleman by name Talayur Musad, and his 5-year-old daughter. He brought the widow of Madhavan Nair, the founder of the renowned Malayalam newspaper Mathrubhumi, and his sister. Baba asked Musad, "What ails your leg?" He gave him an account of his disease and prayed for some drug. Baba told him, "The course of treatment you are now undergoing is enough." Mrs. Rao is now sending him the vibhuti. Baba showers from his picture. He finds it very effective. The widow told him of her diabetes. "I'm getting bags and bags of rice from my fields, but I cannot eat a grain," she said. Baba replied in Malayalam, "It is the result of your past karma." He asked Rao to bring an empty glass. When Baba held it in his hand, it was full of pink liquid. He gave it to her take this thrice daily for 3 days. You can then eat any quantity of rice you like. One cynic was there among the rest. Baba knew, and so he jocularly asked Ramohan Rao to bring a pair of scissors, and he asked the fellow to cut for himself a single hair from his head. The man tried hard but failed, whereupon a bigger pair was brought at his command. This time too he failed. So he put down his head and walked away without a word. Writes U.N. Ramesh Rao, Rao's cousin, who visited Manjari soon after this incident. Baba sang 4 songs in all during the bhajan, asking the gathering too to sing them after him in chorus. They were O Bhagwan, Pahi Pahi Gajanana, Shiva Shiva Shiva, and Omkara Priya Sai Ram. We saw the Shankhamala, the rosary of small conch shells, says the report. It is of the type available at Kanyakumari, each shell being no bigger than a seed of pepper. They are white in color with brown dots. There are 108 of them in the rosary, created and given by Baba. When we saw it, Vibhuti had heaped itself over the beads. The rosary of Rudraksha beads also was examined by us. Baba told them that until he could string them in gold, he should place it on the picture. Baba also created an orange size bell metal drinking cup with a spout and gave it to Shailja. He also created a picture of scarlet, silk cloth with borders of gold thread, and presenting it to the girl, asked Rao to have a jacket sewn for her. He gave Rao additional vibhuti and kumkum created on the spot to be given to Calicut, meaning Ramesh Rao, his cousin living there. Baba left at 11 a.m. on the 13th, saying, "I have to keep to a program at Kalahasti." They did not then know that Kalahasti was about 20 miles from Venkatagiri. They were too aggrieved at his resolve to leave to ask where it was. He said, "No one need come with me." He closed the gate behind him and disappeared. The second visit was on a Thursday. Mrs. Rao was afraid to approach the house since the lights were on. Rao approached to open the lock and entered. He saw Baba in the shrine, sitting leaning against the wall. Baba asked him in Tamil, "Are you afraid seeing me? I have come to join your bhajan." He assured him. Rao had brought some dried fruits from the bazaar. He gave the plate into the hands of Baba for distribution. He felt he alone could make it suffice for all those who were present. Baba entered the kitchen and protested against the dish of kheer being prepared. He did not relish that sweet dish. "This is enough for 6," he said. They had cooked only for 2, but after dinner, food for 3 more was available. Next morning, Rao and Mrs. Rao partook of it as a sacramental. Before retiring for the night, Baba removed one picture of his from the shrine and hung it on a nail in the bedroom. "Let it be here," he said. "From that picture too, Vibhuti is showering in large quantities now." Rao peeped through a slit in the door to find out whether Baba was sleeping. But he saw him sitting up most of the time, lost in thought as one in reverie. Next morning, Baba had his bath and breakfast. When the housewife started preparing festive dishes, he noticed her enthusiasm and warned that he would leave without eating anything at all. He insisted that only their daily menu should be given to him. He talked to them of Shankaracharya being caught while young by the crocodile, Maya in the river of Purna, Brahma, and saved by renunciation, sannyas. He spoke of Sai Baba and and of God as Subramanya. He created a thin plate of gold, drew on it with his nail the picture of Subramanya on a peacock, and rolling it, directed her to wear it around the neck inside a golden cylinder to be made later. He said jocularly, "Sorry, I have no gold." This is perhaps the most dramatic, detailed, and authentic narrative of the multi-locative miracle of Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Baba appears in dreams to console, to advise, to assuage pain, and to instruct. He has said often that persons can see him in dreams only when he wills. He informed a divisional commissioner of the Life Insurance Corporation in his dream that a certain document he was desperately searching for, a document which everyone declared was destroyed by the post office, where it had to be preserved only for 6 months, had not actually been destroyed. He went to the postmaster, spoke about the dream, and got the document he wanted from the place indicated by Baba in the dream. It had not been destroyed. In a dream, he woke up. A school teacher at Tumkur and told her to take the next train to Bangalore so that she could recover the jewels from a person who was leaving for Bombay at 8:30 a.m. I have heard him say, "Poor fellow, when he left, he prayed for my darshan, at least in dreams. I must give him the chance, or tell your son I will appear in his dream next Thursday. He has directed me to ask some persons, 'Did you not see Baba in your dream last night?' And sure enough, they had an unforgettable dream experience in which Baba granted them darshan and blessings. He has initiated persons into spiritual sadhana through Upadesh granted in dreams. He has taught people new bhajan songs in dreams and asked them at Prashanti Nilayam to sing them. He conveys information and advice in dreams. He operates on boils and purpose, an eye, ear, or tongue. The patient dreams that he's operating with a knife and the dream is true. Those who went to bed in pain woke up happy, rid of the dear disease. Listen to the experience of Dr. V.D. Kulkarni of Charchan in Bijapur district. He writes on 2/11/1961, a Muslim lady, 60, Baduma Kasim, suffering from pneumonia in both lungs, was admitted in my clinic last month. On the fourth day, I came home at about 8 p.m. after examining all my patients and finding them progressing well. About midnight, however, her son ran to me in hot haste and hastened to the clinic to find that her heart was sinking. I administered chloramine orally and by injection and waited for an hour by her bedside, but found it ineffective. The son started weeping in despair. I came home at 1 a.m., had a bath, and entering my shrine room, did puja to the picture of Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba, recited the 108 names of Baba, and prayed. My efforts have all become vain. I know no other course except to surrender to you. Yours is now the victory or defeat, the fame or the failure. On you is the responsibility of making her come out alive. I then quietly took to bed, but could get no sleep. Even before sunrise, I hurried to the clinic. I found Madhuma sitting up. What happened at night? Had anyone come? I asked her. Yes, on this bed near my pillow, someone came with a pile of hair sat. He placed his hands around my ears and stroked my face softly so I could rise and sit up, she said. I showed her the small photograph of Sri Satya Sai Baba I had with me. Yes, this very person, she said. How lucky is this woman? She got a lease of life through his touch, writes Dr. Kulkarni. There are many instances when Baba has appeared and applied the vibhuti on the forehead of the sleeping or unconscious patient, and the dot is seen on awakening. Or, as Swami Bhedananda, age 75, writes, the appearance may be to convey a message. In the early hours of the 28th December, about 4 a.m., while I was still in bed brooding over the melancholy and disturbed state of my affairs, I felt a sudden blow on my head, strong but bearable. I got up and switched the lights on. To my surprise, I observed a shining form of Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi, which changed to Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba, appearing separately for some time and then merging together into a dazzling column of light, which lasted but a few seconds. I felt I had the vision of both my benevolent gurus. While in this happy state of mind, I heard a voice which was then strange to me, but which I later verified as the authentic voice of Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba, which spoke to me in Telugu. Do not get agitated, do not meditate. Merely watch the mind. That will make it disappear. Watch and know that who watches is pure awareness. Abstract and absolute awareness is self Satchitananda, that thou art. This is the peace that knows no second condition. This is what you are ardently seeking. Be firm, blesses thyself. You know it through intuition. The blow I gave you was to reveal this secret. Watch, I started following back by your side and in your home. Baba wrote to Charles Penn, know that I am always with you, prompting you and guiding you. I know also that you are aware of this. Live always in the constant presence. Charles Penn receives lessons from Baba during dhyana. My teacher Sai Baba said to me, every time the hand is lifted, lift it for him. I wrote to Baba and thanked him for the lesson. In reply, he explained the meaning of what he had told me. He wrote, if you lift the hand to help, to serve, to console, to encourage another man, you are lifting it for God. Because in every man there is God. Use all your talents for serving others. That is the best way of serving yourself.
So, we shall conclude this session with Samasta Loka and Om Shanti Shanti. Thank you. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you so much for